Thank you for watching. My name is Advocate Mohammed Abduroaf, and today we have a question. It goes as follows. Dear Advocate, I want to relocate to the United States of America to get married. However, the father of my child does not want to consent. We have been divorced for 4 years and he pays maintenance, and the child is 12 years old. Please help. A typical scenario where one parent wants to relocate to a different country, but the parent who is intended to remain in South Africa does not want to consent to the relocation of the minor child. In this specific scenario, the parties are divorced, so I would obviously assume that the father has parental responsibilities and rights of guardianship over the minor child, and obviously his consent is required. The mother cannot leave South Africa without the father's consent unless a court orders otherwise, and we will deal with that situation a bit later. Now, in the scenario, the mother wants to relocate, and she's clear. She says, I want to relocate to get married to someone. Now, the usual scenario would mostly be a parent would want to relocate for work purposes or going back to the country of birth, of origin, etc. But marriage is something that I have been dealing with for some time, where parties wants to get married, where a party wants to relocate to a different country because he or she met someone and they would like to take, or the parent wants to take the minor child with. But the parent who remained in South Africa has a challenge or an issue with that. So the long and the short of this specific scenario is, if the parent does not want to consent for the minor child to relocate with the mother to the United States of America, unfortunately, the mother would have to approach the court, and the court will have to decide whether or not it would be in the minor child's best interest to relocate with the mother to the USA or not. Now, that's a mouthful, but the bottom line is, in this scenario, both parents are co-holders of parental responsibilities and rights. The father was married to the mother. I can't see any reason why he would not have the parental responsibilities and rights of guardianship over the minor child. In the same breath, should the minor child want to apply for a passport before the relocation taking place, obviously the passport is required. The father's consent would also be required for that specific situation. Now, going through these type of matters, ultimately what the court has to decide is whether or not it would be in the minor child's best interest to relocate. That's ultimately the question that must be determined. If it's not in the minor child's best interest to relocate, the court would not authorize it. That's just how it works. But we need to determine how it would be in the minor child's best interest to relocate, or we need to determine whether or not it would be in the minor child's best interest to remain in South Africa. But these comes with certain challenges, because if the mother wants the minor child to relocate, and the father says, no, you cannot relocate because of various reasons. One of the reasons could be that he will no longer have contact with the child. He cannot take the child to soccer every second weekend, to swimming. He cannot spend time with a minor child every second holiday, every second weekend, and see the child basically every few days or every day, whatever the facts are. Now that the minor child is relocating to the United States of America, he may only see the child twice a year when he visits the USA, or when the minor child comes to South Africa. That can be challenging, very expensive as well. And he wants the minor child to remain. But the difficulty we have here is the minor child is in the primary care of the mother. Now, must the mother now not live a life? Must she now be limited to remain in South Africa for the purposes of an ex-husband, so that he can have contact with the child, but she cannot, find happiness overseas or do what she needs to do? Now, that is always the debate that comes about. But we still need to go in determining what is in the minor child's best interest. Now, the courts will not limit a parent from going overseas. The courts authorize relocations quite often. Sometimes the court doesn't allow it if it is not in the minor child's best interest. But if the mother's decision to relocate is based upon sound reasons, like this scenario, getting married, we can obviously, I will assume for this example that she's getting married to someone that can look after her, or the situation in the United States of America would be positive. There'll be a home, there'll be a school for the minor child to attend, there'll be an income, the mother would be able to care for the minor child, and so on. So I'm not looking at any negativity. It's possible that it could be something negative, but I do not want to create it for the specific scenario. If all those blocks are checked, that the minor child will be well cared for in the United States of America by the primary caregiver, by the mother, the minor child will attend school, the minor child will have contact with the father twice a year, and daily video contact or weekly video contact, telephonic contact, WhatsApp contact, email, FaceTime, whatever the case may be. But the child will not be neglected. The child will still be well looked after by the primary caregiver, the person who cared for the minor child for the last 12 years. More than likely, the court will authorize the relocation, because the courts aren't here to limit parents from living their lives and moving on. But if the father can prove to the court, and he can show to the court that it will not be the minor child's best interest, the minor child's schooling will go down, the minor child will struggle here and there, friendship, the far country, no family, no social support, etc. And at the same time, he can prove to the court that he can care for the minor child, not only by saying so, but prove historically, say, you know what, when the mother used to work, when she visited the United States of America a few times, he cared for the minor child for extensive periods of time. He attended to the minor child's homework, schooling. The child is used to his place. The child has his or her own room or a place to sleep, proper facilities, and so on. And he is capable of caring for the minor child. And his argument is that the mother can, and he welcomes the mother to go to the United States of America to get married and live with a spouse. But he can care for the minor child, and the minor child can remain in South Africa, and he can care for him or her. Now, that scenario, the father can argue, and the court can say, you know what, I believe that, yes, the mother is a primary caregiver on paper, or maybe historically, but it will be better for the child to remain in South Africa. And the father can care for the minor child just as well as the mother can care for the minor child, because historically he has proven so. So that's another would be the one that the father might argue. Obviously, many other facts depending upon the specific case and circumstances. The court might appoint an expert, the office of the family advocate, a social worker to do an investigation, to speak to the minor child, to speak to the parents, and look into these issues. You know, what would be in the minor child's best interest? Will it benefit the minor child to ultimately be away from a father, or would it benefit the minor child to remain in South Africa with the mother and the mother not getting married, or would it be better for the minor child to remain in South Africa and the mother to go overseas and the father can care for the minor child and the mother can have contact with the minor child every second weekend and so on. So these are the issues that the court will have to look at, and the court would have to make a decision as to what is in the minor child's best interest going forward. My view is that if you want to relocate, you have full right to do so. Speak to the other party about it, try to come to a resolution, try to resolve these issues, discuss the issue concerning if you do relocate, what contact the other party will have. Maybe you can agree upon paying for some of the air tickets. If whatever is possible, whatever the scenario is, try to make it amicable as possible so that we can avoid going to court as much as possible. Because once you go to court, you leave it in the court's hands. There is an investigation, the family advocate gets on board, social worker gets on board, and it's not the best scenario for both sides. And even if the mother gets it right to relocate without the father's consent, you know, it might cause issues going forward, because the mother will say, you know, I spent so much money on legal fees, the father could have agreed upon from the word go. And the opposite will also apply. So best of luck. I wish you well, and I hope this video was of some use.